My name's Danny Fittro, and I grew up in Michigan. I grew up in a small town south of Lansing. It's called Olivet. My parents met there going to college. My mom's from Costa Rica, and my dad's family's from West Virginia, moved to Michigan when he was a child. And it's a really small town. Everybody knows each other. It's 1 square mile. My sister is an actress in theater. She is on Broadway in Hairspray. She's been in some national tours of different musicals. My parents were both teachers, and I wanted to not be a teacher. That was my whole thing. I had to make my own way. I didn't want people to say, oh, he's a teacher. Well, of course, his parents were teachers. So I ended up going to Lansing Community College, transferring to Central Michigan University. I got a psychology degree. One of my friends that I went to LCC with, he said, hey, my wife and I are going to go down to Olivet College and look into their programs and going back to school. Do you want to come? I know you're from there. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll ride along with you. I'll show you the town. I'll show you the house I grew up in, stuff like that. I didn't think I was going to be going back to school. I was just going along for the ride. Before we left, I had enrolled in Olivet College, the same college that my parents met. So I ended up going back to school, and it was for education, of all things. I was getting my teaching certification. But it's really where my heart was lying. I ended up at a job fair, Michigan State University, and made connections with a small school outside Las Vegas, Nevada. I ended up teaching in Pahrump, 3rd grade for 7 years, and it was there that I coached basketball, and I coached fast pitch softball, and I just had a great time. It was just I met some wonderful people, some of my best friends. I had also finished my master's program, and I got my master's in psychology from classes at UNLV and University of Phoenix, Las Vegas. So my parents had retired from teaching and gone from Michigan to St. Petersburg, Florida. And I thought, you know, I only live once, I'm going to go down there, live with them for a while. And I get there and I find out the interview process in Florida for this year's education was pretty much done. Ended up, I got 1 interview, and it was all I needed. I clicked with the principal, Ms. Proper. I've worked at Woodlawn Elementary School for now 7 years. We've done some wonderful things there. I'm always looking for something else. So I ended up getting my certification in personal training and ended up getting more into the fitness industry. When I moved to Florida, I decided to get a really nice camera. I'd always liked photography, but I didn't know anything about it. It was just like a passion that I wanted to take on in the future. The funny thing is, if somebody would have said, if you buy this camera now, someday you will shoot for a nationally published magazine, I would have said, wow. After all those years, it'll all be worth it. I'll do it. I'll buy this camera. And the thing is, I started putting some pictures up on MySpace, and they were pictures of my dog, pictures of nature, birds. I had a girlfriend at the time that was wanting to be a model. I took some photos of her. I actually got contacted by a national magazine. It was Real Gains magazine. The publisher wrote me. She said, would you like to shoot for our nationally published magazine? We'd really like to have you on board. And I was like blown away. I didn't even really know what I was doing, but I think I had a natural knack for it. And so I got recognized that way. And I got photo credentials to cover the Olympia for her magazine and the Arnold. And about a year after I jumped on board, they went under. But I had made some connections with some other magazines, and Debbie Bakery of Natural Muscle magazine, she brought me on board as a staff photographer, and I've done assignments for her for the last 4 years. After being in the fitness industry, shooting for these magazines, I noticed the general population really does like the look of fit, tone, muscular women if they're feminine, if they're natural. They're always coming up and asking, where are these photos going to be, where are these photos going to be? Well, the thing is, I go on a shoot, I do 100, 200 photos. And even if it's for an assignment and it's going to get published, maybe 2, 3, or 4 photos get in. So I've got like 196 photos or more that no one ever gets to see, and I thought, what will I do with all these photos? I have a lot of photographer friends that I figure are going through the same thing. I need to make my own outlet. So I decided to create my own magazine, and that's FitTreasures magazine.